Welcome to this Parky Makes Kit. Today we're making the Picnic Twist Keyring. I've taken one of my 5 strings, folded it in half, threaded it through the keyring and then threaded the 2 tail ends through the loop. So I've pushed it through from front through to back and then tightened it up on that keyring. As you'll see, the lobster claw is attached to the keyring for you, and there's also some pins there. Once they're all in place, straighten out your strings and fix the keyring in place. I like to crisscross my pins one over the other to give some resistance, and then put another one in to hold the lobster pin in place and stop it from spinning. Once we're there, I've just made sure that all of those lark's head knots are nice and tight, and then I'm going to move apart the strings that I'm not going to be using straight away. This design combines square knots, which is what we're doing here, with some other knots as well. So as you'll see, I have taken my left string over towards the right, and then I'm bringing my right string over the middle 2, under the one on the left, and tightening all the way up. There you go. Now I'm going to do that again with strings 5 through to 9. Left goes over to right underneath the rightmost one, and then tighten all the way to the top. Right goes over the 2 in the middle and under the one on the left, and then repeat the other way around. Next, I'm going to take the middle 3 strings and do another square knot there. So it's gone left over towards the right, over the middle 2 and under the one on the right, and then back the other way. As you see there, I've got 3 square knots. If in doubt, go back, watch that bit again. But now we're going on to the double half hitch knot. What I've got is I've got my traveling string, string 1, and I'm wrapping the next string along over. It's coming from underneath over the top and then looping round, pulling it all the way up nice and tight. Each string will produce 2 little bobbles on your traveling string. That's why it's called a double half hitch. You do 2 of those loop knots. You can see there I've done 4 of those double half hitches going from left to right, and now I'm taking it from right down towards left, meeting in the middle. So there's my 1, coming from underneath to over, threading the string through, tightening it all the way up, and again from under, looping it over, threading it through the gap, tightening it up, doing 2 of those per string to give a double half hitch knot. There we go. And then one final one with my string 5 just to tighten up in the middle, and you can see that that joins up really nicely. Now next up, this traveling string is going to travel further, but I've added an extra twist. Literally a twist. Now, because you don't want to unravel your string, you need to make sure that you are tightening each string individually and then twisting against that string to make sure it stays. Then I'm holding my twist in place, I'm using that string to make a double half hitch knot. And again, now this looks a little bit tricky, but don't worry, I'm going to show you again. So I've then done 2 double half hitch knots. There we go. Okay, and then I'm twisting them to keep their twist. Then I'm twisting them again over one another, but the opposite direction. So I've gone clockwise with one, anti-clockwise with the other. Then once I've got enough twists, I'm then going round using that string that I've just twisted to make a double half hitch knot. There you go. Now I'm going to put an extra half hitch knot on the end just to give me some turning space. So technically the last string gave me a triple half hitch. There you go. Now same thing on the other side. I've got 2 strings. I'm going to twist them in direction of their natural twist, and then I'm going to twist them around each other in the opposite direction so that the twist holds. This is a type of braiding that you may have done on hair before now, but that's how you're doing it. And then you're using the one that is closest to the middle to do the first double half hitch, and then the next one. There you go. So you've got 2 double half hitch knots there. And then you're going to go on to the next one. So again, twist them in the direction of the twist, then twist them over each other in the opposite direction, make it nice and tight, and then you'll hold that twist in place by using those strings to make your double half hitch, and then an extra half hitch on the end. So that last one is technically a triple half hitch. Next, take strings 4 through to 7. String 4 goes over the middle 2, under string 7, and tighten that all the way to the top. String 7 then goes over the 2 in the middle and under string 4. 4 goes behind the 2 in the middle and loops forwards by string 7. There you go, they've swapped sides. And now I'm using strings 6 through to 9 to make another square knot, going left to right, then right to left, over the top and again on the other side. Now I speed these up so that you get all of these tutorials. Each one should come in at around the 10-minute mark, but you can see there I use 4 square knots using the 4 central ones and then using one either side and one at the bottom, and then we take it back to a double half hitch, taking our traveling string from left across to right and working across each of the strings. That's the 3rd double half hitch, then the 4th, and then I'm going to come across from the right over to the left. Having done a triple half hitch at the end of the last row, that's actually going to give me a good turning circle, as it were. It's going to help me turn that corner and not leave a gap. So I'm going to do 5 double half hitches there just to bring the 2 ends together, and then you guessed it, I'm going to take it back to the twist. So I'm going to twist the 2 strings over each other before I continue using them to do my double half hitches. Now you can add more twists to that if you want to. The more you twist it, the more you'll create kind of a bowed out effect. So the more you twist, the more string you will have between each of these sections. So you can do it quite sparsely if you don't want a very tight twist, or do it more if you want a very tight and a slightly bowed out effect. Again, I'm doing this now on the right hand side, and I'm twisting each string in the direction of its natural twist to begin with, and then I'm twisting them over each other in the opposite direction before I use them to do the double half hitches over my traveling string, which is string 6, and then again with the last 2, this is strings 9 and 10 now coming into play on this side. There you go. Now we're going to repeat because, well, what's life without a repeat? So again, I'm going to use my 4 central strings, that's strings 4 through to 7, to make a square knot. And I like this. It's kind of the idea of a picnic blanket for me. Those little squares inside a blanket. And I love it. I called it Picnic Twist. It just was a name that stuck with me. So then I have used strings 6 through to 9 to create the square knot on the right, and strings 2 to 5 to create one on the left. And then I have used strings 4 to 7 to make the one in the middle again. 4 more square knots. And again, I'm going to bring my traveling string, string 1, down across to the middle by using double half hitch knots to bring it in. Getting each double half hitch nice and tight. That's 4 double half hitches on string 1. And then I'm going to go across to string 10 and bring that down from right over to left, holding it tight and holding the traveling string in the direction of travel, which will help those knots line up in the direction that you want them to go. Taking them all the way across, that's 3 double half hitches, that's 4, and then number 5 will join those 2 strings together again. Now that is looking really pretty. Next we're going to finish it off with some barrel knots. I've looped the string around my fingers, I'm wrapping the string around the front of that loop and then tightening it up. What I love to do here is change the height of them. So I've created a loop around my fingers, brought the string in and round, loop it through the front of that loop, and then tighten it up. You can hold the knot in place and then pull that string down, and that will tighten it up. You can choose where it ends up just by where you hold it. It's worth playing around and having them at different heights. Sometimes I like to do a couple high up, a couple low down, and it's worth just taking your time to place them, because you can put them all in a straight line if you would like to, but I quite like the randomness. I like there to be some symmetry, so if I've done a couple that are high up, I do tend to want to do a couple more high up. You can see my 2 edge ones are the highest. And there you go. Now we've got some spare string there. I'm going to spend a little bit of time just making sure I'm happy with the placement of them all, tightening them up so that I'm not going to get any frayed edges. And then I'm going to trim. So trim, 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 trimmity, trim, trim, trim. And the last 2. And there you go, one finished Picnic Twist keyring. And how beautiful does that look? Now, if you want to know anything more about this kit or either of my other 2, then you can head on over to my Instagram at Parky Makes and get in touch. Happy crafting!